For our first chapter story time today, we'll be reading The Wizard of Oz by L. Frank Baum. Chapter 1. The Great Wind. Dorothy stood on the porch and looked anxiously out across the prairie. A great wind howled ever closer to the little wooden house where she lived with Uncle Henry, Aunt Em, and Toto, her little black dog. The wind whipped up a dust storm, and as it raced towards her, the house began to shake and shudder. Dorothy was worried. Uncle Henry and Aunt Em were both still out working in the fields and were nowhere to be seen. Toto began to whine, so she wrapped her arms around him. And suddenly, the great wind hit the little house. With the front door still open, the house began to fill with wind. In seconds, it seemed as if all the walls would be blown out. But instead, Dorothy felt the house lift off from its foundations and whirl into the sky. It grew dark and cold. It was as if Dorothy, Toto, and the house had been wrapped up in a great black swirling cloud. Dorothy gripped Toto with one arm. Toto did not like the wind, and he barked very loudly. Hour after hour passed, and very gradually Dorothy got used to the feeling of the house whirling around in the darkness. She wondered if the house would ever come back down to earth again. Then the strangest thing happened. She closed her eyes and fell asleep. Dorothy awoke to find Toto licking her face. She was lying on the floor of the kitchen in the little house, and all was quiet. The house was not moving any more, and sunshine flooded in through the front doors. Dorothy sprang to her feet. With Toto at her heels, she ran to the front door and looked out. The little girl let out a cry of amazement. The wind had set her house down in a lush green meadow. Around it there were huge trees groaning under the weight of ripe fruit. A babbling brook ran past close by, its brook covered with the most beautiful flowers. Flocks of strange exotic birds were drinking from the brook. Dorothy noticed a group of very strange people approaching the house. At first, Dorothy thought they were children, but as they got closer, she realized that there were men, women, and children amongst the group. But they were all Dorothy's height. They were all dressed completely in blue. Even their long boots were blue, and some wore little hats that were tall and pointy with tinkling bells around the rims. There was also a tall woman among the group. She wore a large crown, and she carried a long, magical-looking wand that had a silver star atop it. She was wearing a beautiful gown covered in little stars which glistened in the sun like diamonds. Her face was kind. The woman walked up to Dorothy and bowed. "Most noble sorceress, welcome to the land of Oz," she began. "We are so grateful to you for killing the Wicked Witch of the East. You have set the Munchkins free at last." Dorothy scratched her head. What on earth was this woman talking about? And who were the Munchkins? The end. Good chapter.